guys! Today I'm going to be doing the tattoo and piercing tag since I have a plethora of tattoos and piercings, and I thought it might be interesting to rank them based on pain level and, healing duration and stuff like that. Mostly for the piercings, and for the tattoos, I just want to show them off because I love them so much. The first questions are piercing related, and the first one is, how many piercings do you have and where? So currently I have, I'll count my ears as, I guess, 2, since some people only have 1 ear pierced. So I have 1 2 in my ears, I have 1 bridge piercing, 1 septum piercing, and a philtrum piercing or medusa piercing. And previously I've had a helix, a rook, double tragus, so on both sides, and then also a nose piercing and a labret piercing on the, or is it labret? It's labret, I remember, I looked it up. A labret piercing on this side of my lip, on the bottom. The second question is, do you regret any of your piercings? And I guess I regretted one of them, which was my nose piercing. I got it maybe like 2 years ago or something, maybe more than that. And originally it was pierced a little bit lower because I was gonna get a nose ring put in instead of a stud. And the piercer suggested that I keep a stud in there, but he also said that, wouldn't be that bad if I put in the ring right away, which wasn't a good idea, so just get a stud first time around if you're getting a nose piercing. Because the ring, since it sticks out, it gets bumped around a lot and it makes it a lot harder to heal. And even when I didn't bump it around, it just didn't want to heal. It was awful. It never healed. It was gross. I didn't like it. It never, healed the way I wanted it to. So that was, I guess, the one piercing I regretted, but not based on where it was or anything. I would have been fine if it healed, but, I had it for almost a year and it just would not heal. So I guess that was the one piercing I regret. The next question is, which piercing hurt the most? So I'd have to say it was my rook, which is this little spot here in your ear. And the reason why that hurt the most is because it's a really thick piece of cartilage, and it just wasn't pleasant. It was the piercer kind of stuck the needle halfway in, but then you kind of have to puncture it, I don't know, it was almost like 2 piercings, because, they got halfway through there, and they kind of have to get through the rest because it's so thick. So that was probably the most painful of my piercings, and it also bled a whole lot. But I'd only really rank that maybe an 8 out of 10. I've had tattoos that are a lot more painful than that, and I wouldn't rank them that high either, because if you really want it, you're gonna tolerate it, so it's not you can't handle it. The next question is, did you have any problems with your piercings? Yes, I had problems with my nose piercing, and I already explained why. It just wasn't happening. I don't think I'd ever get another nose piercing. It just wasn't healing properly. And with regards to my other piercings, I don't think I ever had a whole lot of trouble healing them. I know the rook took a long time to heal, but it wasn't there were problems with it. It was just, a bitch to heal. Do you want more piercings? For now, no, but I know I'll probably want some more eventually. I used to have a lot of piercings in my ears, but I don't know, I've been thinking about maybe getting a second piercing on top of my stretched lobes. I thought that might look cool, but right now I don't really want to spend money on that kind of thing. I'm pretty happy with what I have, and that'll probably change. I'll probably end up getting more, but for now, the last thing I'm gonna say about my piercings is, I guess, the pain scale questions, which one hurt the most, which one was the least painful, which one was the easiest to heal kind of thing. So I'll start chronologically, I guess. I got my earlobes pierced when I was little, like maybe 5 or something. And, I mean, those are just lobe piercings, they don't really hurt. It's like a little pinch, and that's about it. Like, it's not going through cartilage or anything, so that didn't really hurt. That's like a 1, maximum 2 out of 10. But again, like, everyone's body responds differently, so it just depends on how you're made, you know? Like, it might hurt a whole lot to get your lobes pierced than, say, you know, your cartilage. But that could just be you, you know? I can't speak for everyone, but in general, like, the lobes don't hurt nearly as much as anything that has cartilage in it. The next piercing that I got was my labret piercing when I was probably around 18. That was my first, you know, facial piercing, or like non-traditional piercing, because like everyone has their ears pierced. And that one was okay, you know, it wasn't too bad. It's not cartilage, so it's not gonna hurt a whole lot. And I didn't have too much trouble healing it either. It's kind of a pain because you have to start off with a stud, so there's leeway for any swelling that's gonna happen. And I don't swell for a long time, so basically, you know, you have this long stud in your lip, and it becomes kind of difficult to eat because like your teeth get caught on it, and it's just like a pain in the butt. But after that, like, I had no problems with it. I switched it out to a hoop. Hello, Molly. So yeah, I switched it out to a hoop, and that kept that in there for a while. And yeah, that was maybe like a 4 or a 3 out of 10 on the pain scale for me personally for the labret. The next piercing that I got was my nose piercing, which I already said was a pain in the butt and didn't want to heal. But getting it pierced wasn't too bad. Like, anything that you get around the nose, like septum, bridge, kind of, like nostril, anything that you get pierced there, it's gonna make your eyes water because it's so close to, like, you know, your sinuses and your nasal passage, and it's close to your eyes, so it's gonna make them water. But it's just a pinch. Like, it doesn't hurt a whole lot. It's just like the eye-watering aspect that kind of works you up a bit more. But my nose piercing was probably, you know, once again, 3 or 4 out of 10. Like, it wasn't too bad. It was just a pain to heal. Like, my body would not heal that piercing. So that one I didn't like too much. But it wasn't too painful. I mean, a lot of girls can have nose piercings and it's no problem, but I just recommend starting with a stud instead of a hoop because that was stupid and it didn't want to heal. I think the next piercing that I got was my helix, which is a cartilage piercing, so it hurts a little bit more. I'd say maybe like 5 or 6 out of 10. Not too bad. Like, once again, it's just a pinch, but it does take longer to heal. Like, in general, like the fleshy piercings take, you know, 3 to 4 months, depending. Like, it depends on your body, but that's like around the span of healing for the ones that aren't in cartilage, whereas the cartilage piercings tend to take up to 8 months, even up to a year sometimes. So, like, it was sore for a long time, but I didn't really have problems with it besides the fact that it was sore. Next piercing that I got was, I think it was my septum. I'm gonna say it was my septum. And I've had my septum pierced twice. The first time, I was expecting it to hurt a whole lot. But, you know, contrary to what some people might think, it's not done through the cartilage. It's done through the little piece of skin that's underneath the cartilage. And if they pierce it through the cartilage, that's not really a good thing. Like, it's a lot better to do it just in the little piece of skin that's under there. And mine did not hurt at all. It was maybe like a 3 out of 10. It was a really easy piercing to do. It was fast, it didn't bleed, and it healed like relatively quickly. So I would totally recommend getting your septum pierced if you want, like if that's something you're interested in, because I thought it was a really easy piercing. Fix the camera. Okay, so the next piercing I got, I think I got 2 of them at the same time because they were doing like a half-off piercing special for the rook. So I was going in to get my tragus done, but I ended up getting tragus and a rook. So like I said before, the rook was pretty painful. It's a pretty thick piece of cartilage in there. I kind of just got it because it was cheap, so, you know, if you really want it, then I'd say get it, but I just kind of got it because it was like half off piercing day, and it was pretty painful, and it bled a lot, and I mean, let's say 8 out of 10 on the pain scale. And it was also like a bitch to heal, once again, because it's in the cartilage and you have to like sleep on it basically, and it took a while to heal too. At the same time, I got my tragus pierced. No, not on this year. It was on this year. It was the first tragus piercing that I got. And that wasn't too bad. Like, some people say like it's a little bit disturbing because you can hear like the bone crunch or whatever. Well, not the bone, the cartilage crunch, like when they pierce it, because it's like right next to the hole in your ear, so you can hear what's going on. I didn't think it was super painful, like maybe like 4, 5 out of 10. It wasn't too bad for a cartilage piercing, and I found it wasn't that bad to heal either, because it's kind of like closer to your face than anything, you know? Because the piercings that I had out here, those were the ones that kind of affected my sleeping, because, you know, kind of sleeping on them every night. But the tragus wasn't too bad. I loved having my tragus and then my double tragus. I thought it looked really cool, but I ended up taking them out later once I started stretching my ears more. The next piercing that I got was my philtrum / medusa, whatever you want to call it. It was a couple years ago, maybe 2 years ago, and my medusa is probably my favorite piercing. I love it. I think it complements my face really well, and I had no problems healing it. I thought it was a lot easier than the labret piercing, just because it's above your teeth. It's like up here, like, I'll show you. So it's above where your teeth are, so it doesn't really get caught, even if the stud is a bit long in the beginning to make room for swelling. It's really not that bothersome. You're just kind of gonna look like a narwhal for a bit. Narwhal? Whatever. You're gonna look like one of those. But other than that, it was super easy to heal. It was maybe like 3 or 4 out of 10 on the pain scale. Not that bad. And I would totally recommend getting a medusa if you're thinking about it. I know the scarring can sometimes be a little bit more prominent than the labret piercings. Like mine, you can't even really see it. It healed up really fast. But I know for the philtrum, the scarring might be a little bit more prominent, so that's one thing you have to keep in mind. Finally, the last piercing that I got was my bridge piercing, which was pretty recently. It was like in September, and it's basically already healed. It was relatively easy. Probably not as easy as the other ones, because it's kind of like a lot of skin to go through, but it doesn't hurt that much, you know? Like, it doesn't go through the bone or anything. Like, it just goes through the skin, like, right above your nose, and it wasn't that painful. It bled a whole lot, though, which I know it doesn't happen for everyone, but mine bled a lot. The healing was pretty simple. It only took maybe like a month and a half, and then it was like, it was pretty much healed, you know? Still a little bit tender, but healed. And I ended up changing the jewelry maybe like 2 months in to a shorter barbell, just so it would, you know, wouldn't stick out the sides like it was before. But, yeah, bridge piercing, relatively easy, maybe a 3 or 4 out of 10. Again, not that painful. I know the scarring for bridge piercings is pretty prominent, for most people at least. Yeah, but I plan on keeping mine in for a long time. I don't plan on taking it out in the foreseeable future, so not gonna worry about that for now. Now onto the tattoo section, where I get to show off my beautiful tattoos. And the first question is, how many tattoos do you have and where? So, I have 10 tattoos, mostly by the same artist. I can go into detail about that if you want to know the artist info and whatnot. Just message me, I'll let you know. But my first tattoo is a koi fish on my side. I got that one when I was 16, and I'm now going on 22 in February, so it's pretty old. That was my first tattoo, and it wasn't too painful. It's on a nice little fat deposit, so it's not going to be too painful. My second tattoo is a lot bigger. It's also on my side. It starts all the way down here, and then it goes up, hand, and that one is a design by one of my favorite artists, Mathiol. You can find them on DeviantArt or whatnot, but it was kind of like reworked by my tattoo artist to fit on my side, and that one wasn't too painful either, kind of on a fat deposit. It's just like, the closer you get to the ribs, the more it's gonna hurt, because the ribs are pretty painful. Like, I'd say maybe like 8 out of 10, whereas like on the hips, where it's a little bit meatier, it's maybe like 3 out of 10. So that's something you can think about. Next tattoo was done by a different artist. It's a set of roses, blue roses. I did this one in 2 sections. The first was the black and white and the outline, and the second was just the color in the roses. It really was not painful. Like, the higher you get on the shoulder, the more sensitive it's going to be, but, you know, it's meaty on the arms, so it's not going to hurt as much. So I'd say this tattoo is maybe like 4 or 5 out of 10 on the pain scale. I just realized I forgot to say the duration for these tattoos. The koi fish was, I think, an hour and a half. The bigger one on my other side was maybe like 4.5 hours. And the roses I did in 2 segments, both of them like an hour and a half to maybe 2 hours. It was somewhere around there. I think this tattoo I got before the roses, but it's, oh, not that one. I don't even know where they are anymore. It's a quote. I don't know if you can see all of it. It's just a plain, like, cursive quote. It says, "Turn and face the strain." It's from David Bowie's Changes. Bowie's, like, my favorite artist, and that's the story behind that one. It took, like, 10 minutes. It was a pretty sensitive spot, actually, but, you know, I guess it wasn't too painful because it only lasted 10 minutes, but, I found the skin here is a little more sensitive than the one on the outside, so I'd say that was maybe like a 6, 7, probably like a 6 out of 10, but it was a pretty short tattoo, so it didn't end up mattering. My next tattoo is a tramp stamp. I know people don't like that term, but I kind of like it. It's, you know, where tramp stamps are on my lower back. It's a skull with lotus flowers. This one took just over 2 hours, which was pretty good considering how big it is. And it's probably one of my favorite tattoos. I love the colors. It's really beautiful. And pain-wise, I'd say the center of the back is the most painful, and the further out you get, the least painful, the less painful it's gonna be. Yeah. So for that tattoo, I'd say maybe 6 out of 10 in the middle, and then like 4 or 5 out of 10 going out onto the sides. My next tattoo is my chest piece, which is one of my favorites. It's a little Maneki Neko, little good luck cats. And this one's kind of like in memory of my grandmother, and it has like blue eyes. It's a nice purple kitty, very cute. Beautiful cherry blossoms, a little lotus, Chinese lanterns. You know, that's my chest piece. And I'd have to say this is probably my most painful tattoo. You know, chest isn't an easy area to get done, like especially on the sternum and like going up on the collarbones. It's not a lot of fun. It took, I think, like 6.5 or 7 hours to do, so It wasn't a lot of fun. At least I got to lie down, so I didn't pass out or anything. I was lying down the whole time. And, yeah, that's my chest piece. In the center, I'd say it probably went up to like a 9 out of 10, especially at the bottom of the neck. But, you know, some parts of it were maybe like 5 or 4 out of 10. So it just depends on the placing. I'd say closer to the center and the higher up you get, the more painful it's going to be. Whereas over here wasn't too bad. And over here, a little bit sensitive, but not as bad either. Next tattoo I got was this guy. Oh, how am I going to show this? It's a girl in a kind of like scaly themed kimono, and she's giving a kiss to a little goldfish, and the scaly theme runs throughout. There's a lot of detail work in there. This one took like maybe 7 hours. It was like a really long tattoo to get because there wasn't really a strong outline, so you kind of have to work with all the negative space that is my white skin and really tediously work out all those little dots. All those tiny little dots. So that one took a long time, but luckily it wasn't that painful. The forearm isn't that bad. I'd say at its worst, maybe a 7 out of 10, but for most of it, it was like 4 out of 10. Wasn't too bad, and it was totally worth it because I got this very beautiful, unique tattoo. I always get compliments on this one. So then I got 2 tattoos at the same time. One of them is just, I saw it on Tumblr, I had to have it. It was so cute and funny. It's this little heart, and on the inside it just says myself. So, you know, some people think it's like pretty conceited and kind of unfunny, but I think even though it's funny, it's good for a laugh, it has a nice message behind it because people always get these like hearts and stuff with like names of their lovers and like people they might not end up actually being with for the rest of their lives. Whereas if you get myself in there, you know, that's someone that you should always love and someone that you're always going to have to deal with and be with. And I think it's a good message. It's a nice little reminder. Just love yourself. So the other tattoo that I got at the same time is this one. Doesn't really matter if you can see it or not. It's in Russian. It's Dostoevsky's signature. I think Fyodor Mikhailovich Dostoevsky. And I got that on my arm to kind of match the other script that I have on the other arm. I got that because Dostoevsky is my favorite author and one of my favorite people. I love him. I love his writing style. It totally inspired me, and it really influenced my style as a writer myself. That one was, you know, once again, it took like 10 minutes. It wasn't that painful. Maybe like at most 5 out of 10, but it was only 10 minutes, so it didn't really matter. And finally, my last tattoo, the one that I got a couple weeks ago, is kind of geometric style owl that I got my tattoo artist to rework in her own style and do her own thing with it. And let's see if I can get a good shot of this. There's the top of it. Oh, I'm gonna show you. It's pretty cool because it matches my hair right now. But yeah, you can kind of see it. Pretty little. It's not little. Pretty geometric owl. That took probably, let's see, it was like 6.5 hours. Funny thing about that one was, even though it wasn't as painful as my chest piece, I almost passed out like twice. You know, could have been a blood sugar thing, could have been like a pressure point on my back. I don't know, but for some reason I had a bit of trouble with that one. But, you know, totally worth it. Beautiful, beautiful tattoo. And, yeah. Those are my tattoos, guys, and I hope you enjoyed seeing them. I know I enjoyed showing them off. I'll just quickly run through the rest of these questions. Do you regret any of your tattoos? No, they're all beautiful. I'm never gonna regret them, even when I'm old and I'm saggy and I'm gonna look amazing because I'm gonna have like rainbow wrinkles, you know, prettier wrinkles than anyone else. So I'm never gonna regret my tattoos. Which tattoo hurt the most? My chest piece. Do you have any problems with your tattoos? No. The healing for every single one of my tattoos was roughly 2 weeks or less. They were all pretty easy to heal. And finally, do you want more tattoos? So yeah, that's about it. Sorry this video was so long, I just kind of got a little bit carried away, but I hope you all enjoyed. If you have any questions about my tattoos or piercings, you can leave them down below. I'll answer you. I'll be polite, probably. And yeah, also check the down bar for my social media, Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, and if you want me to do more of like a healing type video, like how to heal tattoos and piercings, how to maybe stretch ears, how to heal stretched ears, all that kind of stuff, I'll probably do another video on that in the future. This one's just kind of a general tattoo piercing FAQ. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Bye!